So the Washington Wizards are coming off of an okay season where they were the 8th seed in the conference and they started the year out as one of the worst teams in the league. But after trading their first or second best player, depending on who you ask, in Russell Westbrook to the Los Angeles Lakers, it's pretty clear that the Wizards are going to be significantly worse this upcoming season. And I'm not going to lie, the Wizards don't really look like they know what direction they want to head in, and their future just really looks bleak right now. And that has led me to make this video where I'll be discussing how I would fix the Washington Wizards. Before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it actually really does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content since I post every single day. Also, if you want to help me reach my goal of 1,500 subscribers, also drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments, and play that intro. First step I would take to make sure the Washington Wizards head in the right direction is trading their star and franchise player in Bradley Beal. And I know some Wizards fan might disagree with that. They might think it's better to just keep Beal since he's such a good player. And what I want to say is, don't get it twisted. I don't think Bradley Beal should get traded because he's not a good player. It's actually the opposite. I think he should get traded because he's such a good player, because he's probably a top 20 player in the NBA, top 25 at worst, and he's one of the best scorers in the whole NBA, and he can fit on any team, and he has 2 more seasons left on his contract. In recent NBA history, we've seen that teams who trade their star player with more than 1 year on the contract get significantly more assets than if they do just trade them in their last season. And in my opinion, I think the Wizards should be trying their best to maximize the amount of assets they can get in return for Bradley Beal. I feel like trading Beal would get you a lot of assets, and at the current moment, the Wizards are not a team stacked with a bunch of young talent outside of Rui Hachimura and Deni Be PG. And they definitely don't have a young player who we're for sure is going to be a star. They don't have like a Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, John Morant, Trae Young. They don't have guys like that. But if they trade for Beal, I guarantee you they will get 1, 2, or maybe even 3 players who look like they could be stars in the future, along with future first round picks where they could draft future star players. I think the trade they should look into doing is trading Beal to the Golden State Warriors in exchange for James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody, along with 2 future first round picks. That would be an absolutely amazing return for Beal because they would get James Wiseman, who looks like he could be a top 10 center in the NBA at some point, Jonathan Kuminga, who looks like he has star potential, and Moses Moody, who looks like he could be the ultimate 3-and-D player, and the guy who could be like a good starter in the NBA. And the 2 first round picks, meaning you would get some solid players in the future. They'd probably have to add Andrew Wiggins in that move, but that would be fine. In my opinion, they would have to try and move Beal because they're literally not going anywhere with them. I promise you, this team's not even going to make the play-in tournament, and even if they did somehow make the play-in tournament, they're getting swept in the first round, and that's literally the worst direction to be heading in. You should not want to be one of those teams that's trying to get the 9th seed, and I feel like they should try and tank and try and get like a top 5 pick in the draft. And I think that would truly give them a bright future rather than just hoarding Beal on this team with average to below average players. The second step I would take towards putting the Washington Wizards in the right direction is making Rui Hachimura this team's second option. If we're being honest, that probably is not going to happen due to the fact that this is a team filled with a bunch of guys who like to shoot the ball and some guys who are looking to prove themselves. Because obviously Bradley Beal is going to take the most shots. He's a top 10 scorer in the NBA. They have Spencer Dinwiddie, who's going to want to shoot the ball a lot even though he's inefficient. Kyle Kuzma is definitely going to be looking to shoot a lot in this new role to try and prove that his haters wrong, and Montrezl Harrell wants to try and be a great 6-man again since he's in a contract season. But the reason I think it makes sense for Rui to be the second option is because he's their best young prospect in my opinion, and I believe he's a player who has star potential. He just needs to be more aggressive and get the ball more, and there's no better way to make him more aggressive than force feeding him shots. They should run a lot of plays for him and try to get him into the offense more. Honestly, I feel like he has the potential to be a star. He just needs to be have the freedom and stuff, and I think in the long run this will help the team, because obviously if they could develop him into being a star, that would be amazing. The third step I would take towards putting the Washington Wizards on the right track is literally tanking this season, because it is clearly a roster that is not good enough to be one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, because they barely, and I mean barely, made the playoffs last season when they had Russell Westbrook, and they just got rid of him and added some okay role players, and I doubt this team is a team that makes the playoffs in the first place, and I honestly don't even think they should try to make the playoff. But I will say this, I do think this team is a little bit better than most people think. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NBA or anything like that unless they actually try to do that, but I do think they're a team that can give some of the best teams in the league trouble, like on a random night, but I doubt they're getting to even the 10th seed, and I think they could like win some games and stuff, but they have a lot of players on their team who are like kind of talented, and I think this season they should just take this season to like develop a lot of their young players and let their old veteran players like boost up their value and things like that, so they could trade them in the future for assets. Then on top of that, when you're tanking, you will get your pick, and then the Wizards will get like a top 5 pick in the draft, meaning they could possibly select a future all-star, maybe even superstar level player. I think that's perfect, and that's exactly what this franchise needs. I've been pleading that the Wizards should have traded Beal from even the middle of last season, and it's pretty obvious that he wouldn't want to be playing on a team that's tanking, so I think trading them will just make the most sense. But nonetheless, some people might disagree with that, but every team has to have a tanking season if they want to be a great team again, unless you're the San Antonio Spurs, so there's not really no shame in it. The fourth and final step to make sure the Washington Wizards are going on the right path is to let Deni Be play the point guard position. And I know he's like 6'8", 6'9", but with the way that the NBA is going, a lot of point guards are soon going to become that height regularly. We have LaMelo Ball, Ben Simmons, and Lonzo Ball, along with others. I'm probably forgetting some, but Deni Be can definitely play that position. I think that's what he needs to reach his full potential. He's an amazing passer, he's a really good ball handler, and he's a good enough three-point shooter to play that position, and he's actually really decent at finishing at the rim, and I think he could take advantage of smaller guards guarding him. He's also a guy who I think has the star potential. The problem is last season, Scott Brooks had him staying in the corner and just shooting threes. He didn't let him play to his strengths at all, which is handling the ball and creating plays for others. He just totally misused him, and that's why he's not that good of a coach. And even if you want to say that they had Russell Westbrook, who's like a point guard who's really ball dominant and obviously better than Deni Be, I think in the minutes that Westbrook was off the court, they probably should have gave him the ball at least some time, like handling the ball and trying to create plays. But now that there's no Russell Westbrook and the point guard position is now filled in with Spencer Dinwiddie, who's obviously not as good, I think Deni should definitely be playing a lot of guard. I don't think he necessarily is going to start, and maybe he shouldn't even have to, but I do think he should be playing a lot of guard, and that would allow the Wizards to analyze how good of a player he actually can be at his best level, and I think this will just give him the confidence to go into the future to be a really good starter, maybe even an NBA All-Star. To conclude the video, the Washington Wizards future kind of looks sketchy to me, and it's pretty like I'm not excited about it at all if I was a Wizards fan. I don't know whether or not like they're trying to win or they're trying to tank. I think they're gonna try to win, but I don't know how successful they will be at that. But nonetheless, I think all the steps I said have some realisticness to it. That's a word, and I think they make a lot of sense. So I think the Wizards should listen to me and do what I said. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know whether or not you think you agree with like my steps. Drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content, and if you want to help me reach my goal of 1,500 subscribers. Also drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments, and I'm out.